What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys, and I have some major information to share with y'all today. I don't have the sub drawing or image for today. I'm sorry, I did forget to upload it, but it will be in tomorrow's video. So please stay tuned for that, guys. But jumping straight into it, it's an interview from and I'll just have the scans going in the background, but I know you're not paying attention to that anyway. But it was an interview with one of the directors, and then this came from a French website, so I had to translate it. But I'm just gonna read some of the highlighted stuff or the important things. So the first thing that he talked about was the leveling up, and I'm gonna read it word for what it says. It says a simple question about the level up. When you relive the story, the enemies that Goku and the others face will have a limited level. Do not they? However, to gain levels, you must gain experience points in the fights. So I think we will need lots of enemies. Basically, what he's saying is to level up, you got to gain experience. And basically, if they go the route of a linear Dragon Ball game, then you're not going to have enough enemies to be able to even level up because there's not many major fights. So the world is going to be populated with enemies. Picture Pokemon or how you would walk through the grass and you'd find a fight. And you could even see it in the Goku gameplay, the very first one. When he's flying towards Raditz, you see like a red coloring towards the bottom of the screen and or the scouter or whatever, and that's just like enemies are out in the open and they'll spot you, and if you get close enough to them it'll trigger a fight. So they have enemies populated throughout. Okay, it says this game offers a world with several large areas. Zones will be progressively opened as the story progresses. There are plenty of different enemies in each zone, so if you beat them and gain experience points, you can raise the level until you are satisfied. So basically, there's going to be plenty of areas to fight in. There's plenty of bosses because, and you'll see this later on, the way that it works is once you go to a level, you're pretty much in that level. It matches the anime. So it's not an open world game. It's more free range. And like I said, the reason they couldn't do it open world is because then it would mess with the story. And so they keep that true even in the game. So, you know, how we saw Goku and Krillin and Gohan sitting on the log, and we was like, no, how are they there? They should be on Namek, or that has to be after Namek. And it is, because when you're on Namek, you can't go back to Earth because they didn't do that in the anime. So when you're on Namek, you're pretty much stuck on Namek. Like you can't go anywhere else. You can't go from Namek to King Kai's planet or anything like that. When you're in the game and you're in a specific saga, you're stuck to where you can only go with that saga. So people ask the question, you know, maybe like once the game is beaten, can we pretty much go anywhere we want in that sense? Yeah, like once you're done with the game, you can go from Namek to Earth, from Earth to wherever. It's not linear in that sense, but as you're playing the story, yes. Now, one thing, well, let me continue reading. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. It says, by the way, will we have areas like Tenkaichi Budokai? He's talking about the world tournament, not the game. Korin's Tower, Serpent Trail. Oh, he said, by the way, we will have areas like Tenkaichi Budokai. Korin's Tower, Serpent Trail or Snake Way, Kaio Star, and Planet Namek. So they're gonna have there's gonna be a lot of different locations in this game, y'all. This game will literally follow every aspect of the anime. I will refrain from mentioning the details about the areas, but the pictures already give you tracks. Anyway, there's a lot of places. And I think a lot of places that you can all imagine must be in the game, like the other world. I'm saying that's not in here, but I'm saying that we can imagine it, so it's probably in there. The fans will recognize places really very cold, and he laughs. Um, he says, yes, basically, if you're good, and so now they're transitioning. He's talking, he asked them about the fighting, you know, the fighting in the game. And this is what he had to say. Yes, basically, if you're really good at action and fighting games, you should be able to walk through the story without having to go up or down in level. I guess he's saying up or down. I don't get that because you wouldn't go down in level. So, you know, I kind of read it to say, like, if you're really good at fighting games, you don't necessarily have to level up. Like you could beat the game because the boss fights are really more skill based. If you can avoid getting hit and you can deal damage, and guys, this is real to any RPG, any RPG. Most of them, because some RPGs, if you're just too low a level, you're not gonna do any kind of damage. But even in Legend of the Super Saiyan, you could do like one damage, you know, but it would take forever for you to beat the boss or whatever the case may be. So he says, even the youngest can get by. Even the youngest can get by going to improve the level of their character. That's it. If you raise your level and strengthen your abilities with meals, even children will eventually win against powerful enemies. So, and that goes back to what he was saying about leveling up. I don't think there's a level max. They haven't talked about a level cap. But you know, when I asked the question, could you train and get as strong as you wanted to, or are you limited to the strength that they was at in the anime? The answer to that question is yes. You can get as strong as you want to. Like you can get past level, like Goku fought Raditz at level 4 and 5. You can get up to level 10, 15, and 20 and fight Raditz. It doesn't matter. But the enemies are locked to whatever level they are in the game. So if Raditz, say, when we looked at the gameplay, whatever level Raditz is, if that's going to be vindicative of the real game, Raditz is going to be that same level. Like he's not going to. Remember we was talking about if we got stronger, because that was an issue. We said, well, if we can get as strong as we want, do the bosses get stronger as we get stronger? The answer to that question is no. And so for those of y'all asking about a difficulty level in the game, that is the difficulty level, because we talked about that as well. Well, maybe it's incorporated. Maybe it's a difficulty level that you control. For example, if you want a difficult like fight against Raditz, right there, Raditz is level 6. Raditz is going to be level 6 no matter how strong you are. So you create your own difficulty level. You create your own difficulty level that way. Like if you want a more difficult game, then don't make your character so strong. If you want an easier game, then you make your character as strong as you want to make him. That makes the game easier. So for those of you asking about difficulty level, that's how you control your difficulty level, by the level of your character. Now you can still unlock skills and stuff like that from obviously from the way that they're talking. The skills that you acquire in the game isn't based off of your character level per se. So it seems like there's going to be two different leveling systems. You're going to be able to level up your characters like actual level, and then you're going to be able to level up their skills in a different manner. So you could still be like a level 1 and have high rank skills, other skills and stuff like that. So he said, that's it. If you raise your level and strengthen your abilities with meals, even children will eventually win against powerful opponents. He says, in this game, we understand that the meal is an indispensable element. There's a system that collects the ingredients and fruits of hunting and fishing. Can we think that it can be done freely at any time in any zone? They're asking a question. So basically, can you eat and hunt anywhere? And they say, for example, it says, for example, on Namek, mentioned above, there are times when there will be restrictions so that all elements are not always available. Basically, you may think that you can get food by going to specific places in the area where you can go to play mini games. So like I told y'all, there's going to be more mini games in the game than just Piccolo and Goku's car riding. And what he's trying to say on Namek is that food isn't going to always be available. So basically, when you first get the Namek, food's probably going to be available. The point in the story where Goku is fighting Frieza and the planet is destroyed and stuff, food's probably not going to be available. Why? Because realistically, everything was wiped out at that point. You get what I'm saying? That's what he's saying about this. And guys, so far, if you liking the information, please share the video, guys. Also, follow me on all these social media platforms. We're also on Facebook at DMGaming06. And guys, we bring in the heat. Click the subscribe button if you haven't. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any uploads whatsoever. So, yeah, so food isn't going to always be available. There's instances where it's not, okay? And it says, by the way, can food only be obtained by hunting and fishing? And he said, these ingredients are main ingredients, but it's not limited to that. However, I cannot yet tell you what will be available besides the ingredients. Wait for more information. And if you remember our videos we done way back, there's vendors in the game as well that you can buy stuff from. When you're hunting and fishing, those are the main ingredients, like your main dishes, your meats, and getting fruits and stuff. But there are other ingredients you can buy as well. Okay, he says, I understand. I have another question about meals. There appears to be permanent and temporary effects for each meal. What is meant by temporary? And guys, we talked about this a couple of videos ago. Whenever we went over the screen, that screen right here. Remember we went over this screen and I told y'all that some of the stuff is permanent and some of it is temporary. Guess what? That's been confirmed that we were right about that. He says the effects will be limited in time. Some effects will be quite powerful and your stats can go up considerably. I recommend you especially to use them before boss fights. And he says, finally, a message for DBZ fans. I think the content and the efforts provided for this game are huge. Even compared to previous games, there are also many new things. And those who watch the DBZ anime, as well as those who have not seen it, will enjoy it from the very beginning. If we have never watched the animated DBZ and we play this game, we can discuss on a level playing field with fans who have only seen the animated series. Yes, that's also why we opted for the RPG. If we had looked like an up-team fighting game for the previous ones, or were you saying if they had went with the fighting games like they did in the past, the narrative of the story would have been limited to cinematics. And again, just for the famous scenes. So he's saying they went with an RPG, and he's going to explain why, but he's saying they didn't go with like everybody's saying, oh, same old story. No, it's not. That's why they didn't go with a fighting game, because if you go with a fighting game, then the only way to tell the story is through cinematics. Okay. And in that case, you don't get the smaller scenes, you only get the famous scenes. So they're doing an RPG so they can explore a lot more. Okay. He says, but there, as it is a RPG, it is possible to know more details. For example, the moment when Goku must make Kaio-sama or King Kai laugh at their first meeting. Many small details like this are also included in the game, and Kenzaru hinted at that as well when he was telling us that in order to even train with King Kai, you have to actually make him laugh in the game. Like, this game is literally that detailed. I've been telling y'all for a long time that playing this game is going to be just like living the anime. Actually, it's going to be even more in depth because there's going to be other stuff. Now, he did cover a lot more things in that interview. I didn't bother reading them because I could just tell you what he said. But he was saying things like for example, just reiterating, going over the leveling system. I'll just do a summary of everything that he talked about. He talked about the leveling system, and basically you can get as strong as you want to get. And if you have the skill to fight, you can fight the bosses without leveling up. And there's going to be leveling systems to your character, as well as we talked about leveling systems with the skill tree. You'll be able to, they call it reinforcing those skills. And all the skills are combat skills. So you can have the Kamehameha and you'll be able to reinforce it, make it stronger and stuff like that. And you can do those things without actually leveling up your character. They also talked a lot about Z orbs. But nothing that we didn't know before. Basically, the Z orbs are used to level up your character. Now, some people told me that they didn't say anything about training, that training isn't in the game, or that training isn't there, all because of what they talked about, because they only talked about meals and meals being used to level up your character. However, training is in the game. Training is in the game because they even have training grounds on the maps. So training is in the game. Now, they haven't talked about that yet because they're not to the point to talk about it yet. The reason they're talking about meals because they've already revealed meals, but they are going to talk about training. Also, according to Kenzaru, meals or mini games, are going to give you XP and are going to be used to level up. Basically, everything that you do is going to give you some form of experience to help you level up. But if you want a more difficult game, you don't have to level up. But the Z orbs are used in leveling your character up. Now, whether it's your character level or it's your skills, they're used for that purpose. And that's what we talked about as well, because in Budokai, not in Budokai, but in Dokkan Battle in Dragon Ball Legends, you use the Z orbs to level up, to push your character past their limits. Now, will they be used in that same spectrum? I believe that they will. They say they're used to level up your character, but I think they're used to, level them up beyond something, beyond the normal leveling system. There's something intricate there with them. But all in all, guys, this game is very, very much in depth. And this game is man, we haven't even heard everything about it yet. But like I said, you're not going to be able to just go anywhere on the map. It is going to be representative of the story, and that's cool, because if I'm on Namek, how can I go back to Earth? Training, leveling up your character, you can level them up as high as you want to. Like, for instance, when Goku's fighting Raditz is at level 6. He said that the bosses, their level is set. So Raditz isn't going to go higher than level 6. So if you want a more difficult fight against Raditz, then fight them at a lower level. You see what I'm saying? But they did say that the boss battles are going to be difficult because there's not a lot of them. So in order to level up, you have to do a lot of side fights and things like that. One thing he also mentioned was about the side quests and the unexplored lore and stuff like that. So when you hear things about Gohan and Android 16's special story, when you hear things about Bonyo, the new character and stuff like that, those are going to be aside from the main story. You're going to have, and they did mention modes. There is no online. They said story mode isn't online. There is no online in story mode. The game is single player. But they did mention, they said the main mode is story mode. So they are alluding that there will be more modes in the game. Now, if it's going to be a versus mode and things like that, I don't know. But it sounds like it possibly could be some kind of online element to it. I don't know, because the thing is, when they talk about the game being online, they're talking about the story mode. The main mode to the game is story mode, and they said that it's not online. So story mode is going to be a single player thing, but there seems to be that there are going to be other modes in the games. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a versus mode where you could fight against each other. I don't know if it's going to be something like a survival mode or world tournament mode. RPGs tend to have other modes where you can do different things. So that stuff is going to be yet to be revealed, but just know that they did say the main mode is story mode, which means there are going to be other kind of modes in the game. We can only speculate as to what they will be. But guys, let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Till next time, y'all, thanks for watching. Peace.